Are you kidding? You are so lucky. You have a well, you have a pump, you have arms.
Nancy Oar's Montana rustic existence with Tom is extraordinary. Her unique existence in the mountains and her misfortunes will be explored today. Unknown to many, this woman endured horrible times. What happened to her? Stay updated. Find out the whole tale. Tom and Nancy Oar. Tom Oar lived vicariously in the rodeo Wild West before cameras and cottages in Montana. His rapid, reckless adventure brought him worldwide renown and Nancy Oar his lifelong partner. Tom Oar was a famous bronc rider in the 1960s and 1970s who loved riding wild horses across the American West. Like Tom Oar, Nancy's personal life has been shaped by their intimate partnership since they met. Although Tom Oar is unknown, they fell in love, started a family, and the rest is history. Nancy Oar devoted her life to painting, whereas Tom Oar loved rodeo. Tom eventually became tired of the rodeo's chaos. Though it was more than a job, he discovered his body couldn't handle the excitement and he wanted more. He slowed down and seemed to find joy in peaceful moments with his wife, Nancy Oar. Retirement brought Nancy and Tom tranquility. They liked their absolute seclusion. Wild and terrible isolation was something few could handle. For these two, it was paradise. They headed to Montana's Yaak Valley, where wolves thrived and winter came early and lingered. Something was unspoken in the rowers' world. The country was pristine, far, and promised a fresh start without noise. This world captivated Tom and Nancy, especially Tom. Residents had to work hard to survive, but it rewarded them with calm. The Oars had a basic cabin and more when they arrived in the valley. Water, phone, and electricity were unavailable. They made do with what they had and earned other necessities. They needed firewood for heat. Despite stress, they hauled one log at a time. Food comes from farming, hunting, trapping, and foraging. World-wise, they were off the grid and apart from civilization. Despite hardships, they found harmony in their new world. They returned in time when the world became more convenient. Tom started learning traditional Native American hide tanning. This kept him linked to nature. Though a skill, it was more of a lifestyle. Nancy Oar was always with him. She helped Tom build a cabin in the mountains, and they lived like the 1800s. As expected, their days were calm, but they weren't bored. In contrast, each sunrise brought a new test: tracking animals, storm preparation, or tool repair. One would believe they were escaping life in the highlands, but they lived together independently. Cameras, crowds, and restrictions were absent. This was Nancy and Tom's dream. Though nearly perfect, it ended as all wonderful things. Nancy Oar didn't want celebrity or attention during the Mountain Men years. Like Tom Oar, they never considered reality TV. If you had questioned them about it in the early 2000s, they would have been speechless. They spent most of their time in the mountains mending gloves, checking traps, and gathering firewood. The last thing they wanted was a reality program, and getting used to having camera crews follow them every other day. By 2012, the Globe wanted to see Nancy and Tom Oar. The Mountain Men producers didn't want actors. To succeed, the show needed authenticity. They needed real people living in the world without conveniences. The obvious choice? Tom Oar and Nancy Oar, his wife. An obvious choice. They had a pair with honest, worn-out hands, kind voices, and knowledge. The Oars were ideal for this new show. They needed only to be themselves. Nancy and Tom Oar did not rehearse lines or perform for the cameras. Despite everything, they would remain themselves. So they did. They fell in love with Tom and Nancy Oar's genuine and fascinating narrative. Tom Oar would use hand tools to build log homes, make frontier-era moccasins from tanned skins, and teach a national audience how to make buckskin shirts, much like his neighbor. Nancy Oar was equally captivating. Her lifestyle included trapping, tanning, and handcrafting like Tom's. The Oars sold moccasins, buckskin apparel, and leather goods at Willow Bend Trading Post in Troy, Montana. It was a simple but wonderful life at a time when most people were addicted to their phones. Tom and Nancy were ideal partners. Tom chased wolves off his farm and boiled pine needles for tea. Tom and Nancy's off-grid lifestyle were linked. Nancy and Tom received fan messages asking assistance as the show became increasingly successful. They admired the couple's basic existence and showed the public another way. Nancy and Tom's life had altered, yet thousands of people could see their uncomplicated life. The show's magic was Tom and Nancy Oar's life together. Whatever the assignment, they did it with passion and purpose. Their goal wasn't to impress, just living. That was the secret that kept fans coming back season after season. Nancy Oar made Tom Oar trustworthy to viewers. They admired Tom Oar and found him a trustworthy man. Not just Tom. Nancy was a perfect wife and woman. They inspired admiration with their excellent lifestyle. People saw Tom and Nancy ignore trends and societal norms. Their identity was founded on family and humility. The show made them famous, but they never changed their personalities or priorities. They never sought brand endorsements or partnerships, sticking to their simple lifestyle. They just cared about creating a life in the woods and sharing it with friends, family, and the globe. Every Mountain Men fan and art and philanthropy enthusiast knows Nancy Oar. She may be Tom Oar's wife, but she's more than a servant. In her heyday, Nancy Oar has helped many causes and greatly impacted her community and beyond. Small Town was her birthplace. From childhood, she was creative and passionate about helping people. Not all of her life has been perfect. Despite several obstacles, her perseverance and resilience have kept her going. To comprehend Nancy Oar's sad fate, you must know her entire story. Nancy Oar was born in Springfield, Illinois, on March 15, 1980. Nancy loved the arts from a young age, which shaped her career. The University of Illinois awarded her a fine arts degree. Nancy's Illinois family encouraged her artistic talents. She entered many school art contests, which boosted her confidence and creativity. After high school, she attended the University of Illinois to pursue her arts interest. She succeeded in school and lived a successful life. She also improved her craft, laying the groundwork for her career. Nancy Oar's life is easily compared to her husband Tom's. However, her personal life is more intriguing. Nancy Oar entered the art field after graduating from university. It wasn't surprising she succeeded in art. She became famous for her unique style and inventive methods. She had her first solo show in 2002, which was well received. This moment sets her up for endless prosperity. Approximately 4 large exhibitions. From 2005's solo exhibition at the Art Institute of Chicago to 2007's New York City group exhibition. In 2010, the National Gallery highlighted an artist. The 2015 Miami International Art Fair was another important exhibition. Nancy Oar's art is impressive. Her style combines current abstraction and antique approaches, which few artists can match. Nancy Oar's motivation comes from her surroundings. Her work conveys emotions and storylines through brilliant colors and sophisticated shapes. Her work reflects her passions. Her work is a reflection of her life, focusing on community, identity, and perseverance. Nancy Oar is noted for her philanthropy, despite her mountain man life and paintings. She has participated in many philanthropic events and organizations, illustrating that the kindest individuals use their popularity for good. Nancy Oar from Mountain Men is unique. She enjoys giving back to education, mental health, and impoverished community charities. Nancy's role went beyond being Tom Oar's wife. She stretched her wings to help others. It was her way of helping her community. She is admired within and outside the mountain men realm for her generosity. Nancy doesn't seek attention via small things, returning to where many people fell in love with her aura. Many fell in love with her alone on Mountain Men. Her fans call her wise, strong, and silent. Some online groups deem her the series' unsung hero. Her Mountain Men underdog status makes her accessible to her fans. Her incredible and often sad journey shows her strength, enthusiasm, and tenacity. Her love story with Tom Oar rivals her life. The couple married soon after they met, and while Nancy Oar appreciates her privacy, the Mountain Men has shown followers her life with Tom Oar. Nancy Oar is a lady any guy would want by his side, but is her life too tragic for most people? Her private life is unknown, although she provides peeks on social media and interviews. Even in difficult times, Nancy Oar loves her family and spending time with friends and family. She has a strong support system, including her famous husband, Tom Oar, who helped her succeed. You might love Nancy Oar for her Mountain Men stint or for her philanthropy and ability to sort through life's hardest situations. The heartbreaking tasks. Oar's life became increasingly complex as fame developed. Tom Oar was 70 and still cut wood and waded in freezing rivers. Tom and Nancy were admired worldwide, but nature's intricate aura had other plans. First came snow, then other challenges. Winter was nothing new to Tom Oar. Some 30 years he did so, but this time was different. Oar has a routine. He shoveled his cabin's roof regularly, but this time it collapsed. Snow loads in Montana winters forced Tom Oar to climb his roof many times. These snow loads could stack up and collapse a roof. Tom grabbed his shovel and scrambled up to escape this, but the ice was slicier than before. Unfortunately, the worst occurred. Tom's boots slipped. Before anyone noticed, he fell. The fall was devastating. Nancy Oar was distraught. Tom fell off the roof and recovered painfully. He suffered terrible pain after the fall and recovered slowly. The wilderness signaled this. Maybe Tom's body couldn't handle the alpine lifestyle. Tom was used to chopping wood, scaling rooftops, and carrying supplies in waist-deep snow. He died from these lifestyle choices, and Nancy was tired of him. Thank goodness Nancy Oar was there when he fell. In despair, she ran to her husband's rescue, and she was emotionally devastated by his physical anguish. If she wasn't there next time? What then? What if Tom had fallen deeper into the snow or on the ice without someone to help? Oars had a tough and difficult situation. Tom lived a self-sufficient and independent existence, but the mountains reminded him that he was human, and their chaos reminded him. For the first time in forever, he had to face the truth as his freedom ebbed away. Can't outrun time forever. Tom and Nancy cautiously, almost instinctively, considered their options, as if revealing the truth would make it harder to bear. They debated the proposal for months, vacillating between rejection and approval. One day, the silent decision came like the first snowfall. Soft, slow, and permanent. They'd depart Montana. Though not made instantly, that decision had finality when voiced. It wasn't like changing addresses or browsing a map to leave Montana. It was like leaving part of oneself. It wasn't simply home packing. They were burying a part of themselves in the Bitterroot Valley soil and the homes Tom constructed himself. For nearly 30 years, they lived with the land. Their routine followed the seasons. Spring meant roof patching and trap inspection. Summers meant hard days, piling firewood, and gardening in the sun. Fall was for hunting and preparing, and winter tested them. It always did, but changed. Winters were no longer difficult. They were a threat. Tom's joints, worn from decades of work, hurt more than ever as the cold got worse. Snowstorms worried Nancy. Not about getting snowed in, but what would happen if Tom fell or got sick and they couldn't get help. The mountains that previously offered them tranquility now suggested threats they couldn't afford. So they did what they never meant to. They searched. Maps, listings, calls. They sought a location without loneliness or isolation. Even they were astonished when Florida became the greatest option. Its proximity to family, not its beauty or environment, was what attracted them. After years of mailing Christmas gifts and watching their grandchildren develop through holiday photos, they could suddenly attend birthday celebrations, school plays, and Sunday dinners. Florida was completely different from Montana. No towering peaks, crisp pine air, dawn elk, or evening wood smoke. It had sand, humidity, and palm trees instead of soil, snow, and evergreens. The sound of children laughing and the warmth of shared meals were comforting. They would trade isolation for connection, frost for brightness, individualism for sharedness. The final goodbye was quiet. Big announcements and stunning mountain views were absent. Silent, reverent. Tom stood on his erected porch, running a worn hand down the railing, not to stall, but to remember. Nancy softly closed the door, knowing they were leaving more than a house. It showed everything they endured and loved. They drove away slowly, the ancient truck groaning behind tools, photo albums, and pieces of a hard-earned and thoroughly lived life. The roads wound through pine trees and farmland. Mountain views faded in the rearview mirror as the scenery changed, but memories lingered like wood smoke in their garments. Their new existence in Florida would be easier and harder. Tom missed the quiet of the woods, the stars from their back porch, and the satisfaction of a good day's work. Nancy would miss the seasons, seclusion, and stillness. What they got back was equally important: the laughter of a grandchild down the hallway, the simple delight of a nice supper with family, and the comfort of family close. Leaving Montana devastated their hearts in ways they didn't expect, but they faced it together, like every snowstorm and setback. They embraced each other through goodbye pain and faced the unknown with the quiet fortitude of survivors who knew when to fight and when to surrender. The goal was to live well, not just survive. Living well sometimes means letting go of something important to make place for something more sacred: connection, presence, and knowing beauty. Tom Oar's health battles and tragic losses. In 2022, while filming Season 11 of Mountain Men, Tom Oar suffered a health scare that nearly ruined his mountain life. His wife, Nancy Oar, suffered another heartbreak with this health crisis. Tom, 80, lived off-grid in Montana's Yauk Valley. Though he wasn't on the show, his health was a rising concern for everyone, especially Nancy Oar. Tom's significant cardiac disease could cause shortness of breath and lung fluid collection. Due to cardiac muscle weakness, fluids were accumulating in his lungs, according to doctors. This caused Tom and Nancy stress, because this condition might be devastating if untreated. A strict routine was given to Tom. He needed medication. He monitored his heart rate, a defibrillator vest. It was hell following this rigorous regimen. In an area without cell service, the Oars were moving far from the nearest hospital. It was impossible to do logically. Despite everything, Nancy Oar stayed strong. Nancy took on additional physical work while making sure Tom took his meds. She monitored his symptoms and was his biggest emotional support. This incident overwhelmed Tom and Nancy. The idea of losing her life partner broke Nancy Oar, but she focused on surviving the wilderness. Despite her inner agony, she gave Tom hope. She recognized that survival was about facing life's hardest moments together, as well as the wilderness. Tom needed another hospitalization in 2024 due to his worsening illness. Nancy Oar was shaken by Tom's failing health. His death rumors spread quickly online as fans feared the worst. Thank goodness Tom lived, and Nancy never left him. Putting aside the health scare, the Oars suffered a devastating loss in 2015. It was April 26th. The day was a catastrophe no parent should experience. In St. Petersburg, Florida, Tom's daughter, Keely Oar, died that April. She was 49 and starred in Mountain Men from 2012 to 2014. Nancy was related to Tom's ex-wife, Keely Oar. Nancy connected with everyone grieving Keely. Despite living apart, Keely's presence was always felt, and her death left a huge hole in all her loved ones' hearts. Keely's death was devastating and significant for Tom and Nancy, but the family keeps it hidden. According to family friends, Nancy held Tom together during those difficult months despite her heartbreak. Despite severe health concerns, loss, and heartbreaks, Nancy has always been a source of strength for the Oar family. Though few survived her lifestyle, she stood tall. Nancy supported her husband Tom despite her sadness. She may not want the spotlight, but she deserves all the love and support it brings. After Tom and Nancy left the spotlight, rumors spread online. Many wondered if Tom Oar had died. People wondered if he was unwell or hiding. The truth is ultimately revealed. Tom Oar is healthy. Despite retiring from the mountains, he remains fit and ages naturally like anyone who has lived an adventurous life for decades. Mountain guys, he and Nancy Oar are no longer on the show, but not hiding. The life Tom and Nancy made together is still enjoyable. They sometimes attend events, do interviews, and update fans on their initiatives. Tom and Nancy Oar's love, adventure, and heartbreak span a lifetime. Despite everything, they maintain self-reliance, courage, independence, love, and sincerity. Nancy Oar represents every woman who withers through life's storms and heartbreaks to serve her loved ones. Her effect goes beyond art, lives through her efforts. She's more than Tom Oar's wife. In her manner, she touches many lives. Tom persevered in Florida. Leaving the mountains wasn't boring. He kept working with leather and crafts. Nancy Oar supported him throughout. She remained a loyal partner who enjoyed their quiet excursions and uncomplicated existence. Tom and Nancy lived in Yock Valley for decades. They have a lifetime of good memories that will follow them wherever they go. Not only are these recollections, but they also shape their personalities and their lives. Despite years and heartbreaks, the Oars remain self-sufficient. On their life journey, they find calm wherever they go and home. They may keep finding adventure and survival in small things. Instead of cutting down enormous trees for firewood, they may grow a little garden. They inspire others with their love of the earth, wherever they are. Fans marvel at how their connection to the nature survives life's tragedies. Tom and Nancy Oar live the life they worked hard for. Despite being secret, they live with resilience and courage. They always prioritize freedom over comfort and honesty over celebrity. They inspire millions to follow suit. They led a unique and excellent life on TV, which mountain men should observe. Nancy Oar is powerful. If her tale inspires you, remember the power of selecting your own path. You can say, "What about her?" Please like and subscribe.